If you want to paint an easy yet charming watercolor Christmas wreath in just a few minutes with simple brush strokes and with metallic watercolors that shimmer and dance magically in changing light, then this one's for you. Let's paint. I recently got this pack of watercolor greeting cards from Cricut in Michael's, and check out my festive box full of these gem like candy like shimmer watercolors. I'm gonna first gently reawaken them by misting them generously with water, and I'm also awakening the pigments in my Trupti's Signature 24 palette, also from Blue Pine Art's handmade paints. And I'm also going to set them aside. And now let's check out these cards. Bought them for 17 Canadian dollars, so not bad at all. And I'm going to leave the direct links to all the supplies I'm using in this video in the description, so go check them out. As you can see, it's a 140-pound, 300 GSM cold pressed watercolor paper, which is good enough for me, which basically means my painting experience is going to be wonderful on these cards. They're also the perfect size, I think. And so they come with, a stack of cards and a stack of envelopes. And what I really love about these cards is that they're completely blank, the front and the back. So you can do all sorts of things on this. So let's make a little loop of some masking tape first. And I'm going to stick it on the inside of my card here so that it doesn't move about as I'm painting the top of it. I'm going to start off by making a simple little circle lightly with a pencil on top of the card. Okay, I'm really excited to use this mistletoe interference paint. You'll see in a bit, but patience, Trupti. First, let's look at the brush. I'm using the Princeton Heritage size number 8. And I'm really excited to use the Scarlet Ibis to paint some poinsettias in our wreath today. Now, this is a beautiful warm red from this palette. And I just love it. This beautiful fire engine shade, but it also has a cool pink in the undertone. And I always find this warm red super interesting. So I'm just diluting this paint down to a nice creamy consistency, and I'm dabbing that excess paint off. Now this part is really important because I feel like a lot of beginners, oops, almost got this paint on the card. Thank God it didn't stain. But yeah, I see a lot of beginners who load up their brush with a lot of paint on small little cards like this, and then you have this like pool of paint on your paper and you just don't know how to control it. So yes, my loves, dab that excess paint off your brush. When you have the right amount of juicy paint on your brush, I'm gonna, you can just go in and paint these poinsettias. I'm just using some simple C strokes, kind of like how you would paint a leaf to paint the petals of this poinsettia. Again, I'm not using any sort of like pencil to outline the flowers, but it's a good idea if it helps you feel more confident. Definitely lay in your elements with some pencil. And about now I'm going to shift to a smaller brush. This is a size 4 synthetic and sable mix brush, I think from Rosemary, and lightly I'm just laying in these green lines along the circle. Now these are going to be my guidelines to start painting those evergreen pine or like the fir foliage in the wreath. Now what I did initially is I just blocked the flowers in these opposite positions so that I know to work my leaves in around it. And I'm just painting, these like the fringe leaves at an acute angle. Basically, I don't want the wreath to flare out too much because the card is really small. It's just 6 by 4 inches. And I don't want it to get crowded. I want there to be enough space in the middle to inscribe a lovely little holiday wish. And just using the tip of my brush, I'm using some sap green and painting in these really simple lines of the fur. But to add more dimensions, I'm going in with a dark shade of green, like my forest green, and laying in a few strokes of the dark green. And you see how it instantly adds a depth and lushness to your wreath. So it's always a good idea anytime you're painting leaves and wreaths and trees is to, play with the light shade and a mid shade and a dark shade or even just a light shade and a dark shade. Now, because of those guidelines that I put down, I'm able to, kind of rein my enthusiasm in and control how big I'm making the pine needles, the spruce needles, the fir needles. I don't know which tree foliage goes in a wreath. I should look it up. But again, those darks, man, like they really make your your natural foliage pop. And this is something that I teach in my watercolor trees challenge as well, to use different tones to add more lushness to your greens and your foliage in your trees. So definitely check that free challenge out if you haven't yet. I'll leave the link in the description. But all we're doing now is just sort of letting loose and filling in the foliage of this wreath, and you can see how it just doesn't take too much time at all. And again, you just want to be using the tip of your brush. And I'm really loving the size 4 for this little painting project. Again, at this point, I just want to give you a gentle reminder that this is a card, so you don't have to make it perfect. The biggest thing is that you want to have fun, because your loved ones will appreciate the effort that you've put in hand painting a card, or even if you're just like making it just as a little practice painting for yourself, just enjoy yourself. I'm going to include like a side view of a poinsettia here because, odd numbers like this, like 3 bright poinsettia flowers are going to look great. So threes, all good things come in threes. So that's why 3 flowers. Now check out this interference green called mistletoe and see how it looks white on white paper, but it has this incredible shine of this like ghostly, glistening northern lights kind of green on colored backgrounds. And this is my favorite part of using special effect metallic paints. Now what I'm going to do is just layer in this sparkly green on top of my, wreath greens. And this is just going to add a fun, sparkly element to this. And I just think this is really cute and fun, especially for holiday painting projects. And it just adds that little bit of special magic to my cards. So I'm in love with these shimmer paints. I use them any chance I get. And holidays and like any kind of cards you make, it's yes, absolutely. Instant yes to use these paints more. So I'm going to pop some gold in the center of those poinsettias. I'm using this gorgeous hibiscus color and going to paint some baubles and ornaments in this. And you can just have fun with the shimmer paints, You can replace the poinsettias for red bows, maybe. You can change up the shimmer colors, whichever ones you have on hand, to paint these little ornaments. And I leave these white gaps to kind of capture the shine. I wanted to add a little bit more lushness, so I splattered some sap green on top of this foliage, but you can skip this if you want. And that's our little Christmas wreath. I really wish I had not lost the footage of the part where I lettered Merry Christmas inside of it with gold paint. So I've replaced it with footage of another Christmas card that I painted. By the way, the tutorial to paint a simple little card like this of a Christmas tree is in the previous video. Check it out. But feel free to write whatever you want in the center of your wreath. Anything that makes the wreath feel like yours, get creative. And remember, this is a Christmas card, not a perfection contest, okay? So keep it fun, keep it loose, let it all shimmer. I've linked all of the supplies again in the description, and I will see you in the next cozy little painting video. Happy holidays!